Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Matt Brown steps up to help bedridden friend in hospital. Matt Brown has just shy of 250,000 followers on his Instagram, and he generously shared a post about a friend who is bedridden in hospital. Alaskan bush people fans who follow him are not surprised that he would help someone else. As those who follow his recovery videos know, he seems like a caring and gentle person. ABP Matt Brown helps other people often. Discovery Channel fans see that these days, Amy Brown's son who fights his addiction issues also helps other people. In the comments of his many posts, a lot of followers claim that he motivates them to stay sober, or they stay motivated in other areas of their lives. Often, he's described as an inspiration. Ironically, some fans think that the outsider of the family seems way more selfless than his siblings who seem to be estranged from him. Matt Brown clashed with his dad before Billy Brown passed away, so he has deep emotional feelings about that. However, he has a friend named Michael who he hangs out with. Also, he has many friendly people who support him on social media. Sadly, one of his other friends fell ill suddenly, and the former Alaskan Bush People star is doing what he can to help out. Alaskan Bush People alum shares about his bedridden friend. ABP fans saw that his latest Instagram post wasn't about his own recovery. Instead, it was about a friend named Alex. The former Discovery Channel star wrote a long explanation about what happened and why he wants to help Alex and his wife, Brenda. Matt Brown also shared the GoFundMe link on his bio, and you can visit it here. The fund, which was started by Brenda on December 27, received 29 donations so far, and it looks like Matt Brown's efforts helped as 5 people donated since he released his appeal. So far, the fund reached $1,040 raised of a $5,000 target. The antiseptic scent of the hospital hung in the air, heavy and clinical, as Matt Brown strode down the sterile corridor. The white tiles beneath his feet reflected the fluorescent lights above, casting a stark and unforgiving light on the world. It had been 2 days since he received the call, the one that sent his world spiraling. His best friend Jake had been in a terrible accident, leaving him bedridden in a hospital room that felt more like a prison than a place of healing. Matt's mind raced as he approached room 312, where Jake lay confined to his bed, tubes and monitors surrounding him like a mechanical spider's web. The rhythmic beeping of the heart monitor greeted Matt as he pushed open the door, revealing the pale figure of his friend, almost unrecognizable under the hospital's harsh lights. Jake's eyes fluttered open at the sound of the door, and a weak smile tugged at the corners of his lips when he saw Matt. "Hey man," Jake croaked, his voice raspy from days of disuse. Matt forced a smile, hiding the wave of emotion that threatened to overwhelm him. "Hey buddy," he replied, his voice betraying nothing of the turmoil inside. "How are you feeling?" Jake shrugged slightly, wincing as the movement caused a twinge of pain to shoot through his battered body. "Like I've been hit by a truck," he joked weakly, though the attempt at humor did little to mask the pain in his eyes. Matt pulled up a chair beside the bed, sitting down heavily as he took in the sight of his friend. "I'm sorry I couldn't get here sooner," he said, guilt gnawing at him. "I came as soon as I heard." Jake shook his head slowly. "You had your own life to take care of, Matt. I get it. But I'm glad you're here now." For a moment, silence hung between them, heavy and uncomfortable. The steady beep of the heart monitor filled the void, a constant reminder of the fragile state of Jake's health. "I've been thinking," Matt began hesitantly, "about what I can do to help you out while you're stuck here. I mean, I know there's not much I can do about the pain or the boredom, but I want to do something, anything, to make this a little easier for you." Jake raised an eyebrow, curiosity flickering in his tired eyes. "Like what?" "Well," Matt said, leaning forward slightly, "I was thinking about that time we went on that road trip to the mountains. You remember that?" A faint smile crossed Jake's lips, and he nodded. "How could I forget? We got lost for hours, and you insisted we were on the right path even though we weren't." Matt chuckled at the memory. "Yeah, that was a mess. But we had a great time, didn't we?" Jake nodded again, his smile growing a little wider. "We did." "Well, I was thinking," Matt continued, "maybe I could bring a little bit of that trip to you. I could get some of those nature sound recordings, like birds chirping and streams running, and play them in here. And I could bring in some of those photos we took and put them up around the room, so you can feel like you're out there in the mountains again, even if you're stuck in here. Jake's eyes softened as he listened, and he reached out a hand to grasp Matt's. That sounds really nice, actually. I could use a little escape right now. Then it's settled, Matt said, his heart lifting at the sight of his friend's gratitude. I'll get started on it right away, and I'll bring you some of that coffee you like from the cafe down the street too. Hospital coffee is the worst. Jake chuckled weakly. You're a lifesaver, Matt. For the next few days, Matt threw himself into his mission with a determination that surprised even him. He scoured the internet for the perfect nature sounds, selecting recordings of birds, crickets, and babbling brooks that matched the ambience of their favorite mountain spot. He printed out the photos from their trip, carefully choosing the ones that captured the beauty and serenity of the landscape, as well as the moments of laughter and camaraderie they had shared. When Matt returned to the hospital with his carefully curated materials, he found Jake in better spirits, despite the pain and discomfort that still plagued him. The transformation in the room was almost immediate. As the soft sounds of nature filled the air and the familiar images of their mountain adventure surrounded them, Jake's tension seemed to ease. Matt spent hours at Jake's bedside, reminiscing about their trip, telling stories and cracking jokes that brought genuine smiles to Jake's face. They talked about their dreams, their plans for the future, and all the things they would do once Jake was back on his feet. As the days passed, Matt became a regular fixture at the hospital, his presence a constant source of comfort for Jake. He brought books, movies, and even a portable game console to help pass the time. He coordinated with the nurses to ensure Jake had everything he needed, from extra blankets to his favorite snacks. But it wasn't just the physical comforts that made a difference. Matt's unwavering support, his willingness to listen and to simply be there, gave Jake the strength to keep fighting. The bond between the two friends grew stronger with each passing day, forged in the crucible of adversity. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm orange glow over the hospital room, Jake looked over at Matt, his expression serious. "Matt," he said quietly, "I don't know how to thank you for all this. You've done more for me than I could have ever asked for." Matt shook his head. "You don't have to thank me, Jake. That's what friends are for. We've been through a lot together, and we'll get through this too." Jake nodded, his eyes glistening with unshed tears. "Yeah, we will." And in that moment, surrounded by the sounds of nature and the memories of their shared adventures, both Matt and Jake knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, because that's what true friendship was all about. Being there for each other through the good times and the bad, and never giving up, no matter how tough things got. As the night settled in and the hospital quieted down, Matt stayed by Jake's side, the beeping of the heart monitor a steady reminder of the battle still to be fought. But with each passing day, with each act of kindness, Matt knew they were one step closer to getting Jake back on his feet and out of that hospital bed. And until that day came, Matt would keep stepping up, doing whatever it took to help his friend heal.